Let me tell you something. It may sting to hear, but your heart needs it. If the world has stopped respecting you, if people look past you, if your name is whispered in secret but never honored in the open, this is not simply bad luck or someone else's fault. There is a mirror you must face. In that mirror you will see habits. Habits clinging to your spirit like shadows, draining away the strength you were created to carry. Listen closely. Before the world places respect on your name, before anyone bows their head in recognition, you must first remove what is dishonorable within yourself. God will never crown what you refuse to crucify inside. And this is not about doctrine or theology. I'm not here to lecture you with religion. I am speaking about standing before your Creator with your heart laid bare, saying, "Search me, cleanse me," because there are 5 habits, my friend, that will keep you small, even though you were destined to be mighty. Until you let God burn those habits out of your soul like fire racing through dry grass, you will never taste the honor your heart longs for. You see, the respect you long for is not first about others seeing you. It's about God seeing something in you that He can trust. Respect doesn't begin with applause. It begins with transformation. You can fool a crowd. You can dress the part, quote the right words. But God does not look at the outside. God peers into the marrow of who you are. And until the marrow is cleansed, the spirit cannot rise. Some of us are trying to carry respect while dragging along bitterness like a chain. Bitterness that poisons every conversation. Bitterness that walks into every room before you even speak. God will not honor a heart that carries old wounds like badges of identity. The first habit we must let go of is the habit of unforgiveness. Oh, how easily we cling to it, feeding it, nursing it, letting it grow into a story we retell to ourselves every night. They wronged me. You say they left me. They betrayed me. Yes, they did. But the moment you keep replaying their offense, you make their actions your prison. And while you sit in that prison waiting for others to apologize, the respect you were meant to carry rusts in the corner of your soul. Let me ask you, how long will you drink poison and expect the other to suffer? How long will you allow your peace to be held hostage by people who aren't even thinking about you anymore? The Creator does not pour oil on vessels that are filled with old grudges. You must be emptied. You must be cleansed. Let it go. Not for them, for you. For your destiny, for the honor God wants to place upon your shoulders. The second habit is the deadly desire to be liked by everyone. Oh, how many destinies have died under the weight of public approval. If you are always adjusting yourself to be accepted, you will never be respected. People may smile at you, they may clap for you, but behind closed doors, they will not follow you because even they can see that you are not anchored in truth. Respect is born when a man or woman decides, I will not bend for what is popular, I will stand for what is right. And do you know what's right? Trusting God when the crowd turns silent, following the voice of the one who never leaves, even when it means walking alone. Look at the trees that grow strong. They are the ones that pushed against the wind, not the ones that leaned with it. If you change who you are, every time the culture changes its mind, you will never walk in dignity. God honors those who are rooted, who stand even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs them something. Are you willing to be rejected in order to be respected? If not, you will always be a slave to the opinions of those who cannot bless you, cannot promote you, and cannot heal you. Stop bowing before the court of public opinion and start bowing before the throne of the one who sees all. Then there is the habit of speaking without discipline. A mouth that cannot be tamed will always lead to a life that cannot be respected. Some people talk so much they leave no room for their spirit to grow. Every frustration becomes a post. Every conflict becomes a gossip session. Every pain becomes a public performance. But you must understand, respect is built in silence, in self-control, in the refusal to give your enemies access to your peace. The tongue is a small thing, yet it can burn down the forest of your reputation in seconds. And when you speak without grace, without wisdom, without purpose, you hand your dignity over to the wind. Let God teach you the strength of restraint. There is power in the pause. There is glory in silence. There is authority in holding your tongue until it's time to speak with intention. Not every battle requires your commentary. Not every betrayal deserves a response. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. And let the peace of God roar louder than your critics ever could. Now we come to pride, that unyielding, subtle serpent that whispers, "You are enough without God." Pride is the habit that tells you to keep pretending, to keep performing, to keep acting like you're in control when everything inside you is screaming for help. But hear me, there is no respect in arrogance. There is no honor in pretending to be more than you are. God exalts the humble, not the haughty, the ones who bend their knees before life breaks them, the ones who say, "I don't have all the answers, but I trust the one who does." When you remove pride, you make space for wisdom. You make room for grace. You invite God into the place where you once stood alone. And in that place, God begins to lift you, not because of your strength, but because of your surrender. You see, the world teaches you that respect comes from domination, from being the loudest, the smartest, the most powerful in the room. But in the eyes of the eternal, respect comes from submission, not to people, but to truth, to divine order, to the quiet power of humility. Let go of pride before it becomes your downfall. Let go before you lose what you were trying so hard to protect. Let the Creator fight your battles. Let Him raise you up in His timing. And perhaps the most destructive habit of all is the habit of inconsistency. The double life, the shifting standard, saying one thing, living another, promising much, delivering little. Let me ask you, can you be trusted when no one is watching? Can you be counted on when there is no applause, no audience, no reward in sight? Or do you rise and fall based on your feelings? People respect consistency more than talent. They follow reliability more than charisma. Because in a world full of chaos, what people crave is certainty. And if you want God to entrust you with influence, you must show Him that your foundation is steady. Stop changing who you are depending on who you're with. Stop making promises your discipline cannot keep. Stop being loud in your ambition, but quiet in your actions. Let your life speak so clearly that your words become unnecessary. A steady hand, a focused path, a spirit rooted in the eternal. This is what earns respect. God does not bless confusion. God does not anoint instability. He blesses those who are planted, not those who are always moving, always shifting, always looking for the next thrill. Stand still, be firm. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. I tell you this not to shame you, but to call you higher. You were never created to beg for validation. You were not born to chase admiration. You were formed in the image of the Creator, crafted by divine hands, not to be pied, but to be honored. But honor requires cleansing, and cleansing is never easy. Fire purifies, but it also drowns. Water refreshes, but it also drowns what cannot float. And the truth will set you free. Yes, but it will first shatter the chains you've grown comfortable wearing. There is a better you waiting beyond the habits you've carried for too long. But that version of you is not found in popularity or position or possessions. That version is found in the fire, in the refining, in the surrender. The respect you want begins with the God you've ignored. The respect you long for begins when you stop performing and start transforming. And transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in obedience, in repentance, in returning, in listening, in choosing each day to say, God, remove from me what blocks your glory. Remove from me what poisons my peace. Remove from me what offends your presence. You do not need a title to be respected. You do not need riches to be revered. What you need is alignment. Alignment with God's order. Alignment with God's truth. Alignment with your calling. Strip away what distracts you from that alignment and watch as people begin to take notice. Not because you demanded it, but because the weight of your integrity speaks louder than any self-promotion ever could. You want to be respected, then start by respecting the time God has given you. Respect your own word. Respect the temple that is your body. Respect the silence when God is speaking. Respect the calling that pulls on your spirit when everyone else is sleeping. Stop delaying your transformation. Stop excusing your dysfunction. Stop dressing up decay and calling it destiny. Face it, feel it, change it. Let the habits fall away like scales from your eyes. Let them burn in the fire of divine truth. Let God be the architect of the new you, the respected you, the healed you. Because when God finds a soul that is ready to be cleansed, He begins to build something eternal. And no matter what storms may come, no matter who tries to tear you down, no matter what lies are spoken against your name, when God honors you, no man can dishonor you. When God lifts you, no one can lower you. When God surrounds you with favor, it is not because you demanded it, but because you became the kind of vessel that could carry it without leaking. So throw off every habit that has changed you to weakness. Let the one who never leaves shape your spirit into something sacred. And in that sacred place, you will find more than respect. You will find purpose. You will find peace. You will find the power to walk into any room, any battle, any season of life. Knowing that you are not alone, you are seen, you are strengthened, and you are standing with the Creator who holds your future in His mighty hands. And now let me speak to the part of you that hides. The part that's tired of trying, tired of proving, tired of wearing a mask that no longer fits. The soul behind your eyes that's begging for peace, yet caught in the whirlwind of people's opinions. You can't sleep because you carry the weight of who you're trying to be, and yet all the while your spirit whispers, there must be more. And yes, there is more. But the more you seek doesn't come through applause or through others bending their knees to you. It comes when you bend your heart before the one who formed you in silence, who knew your name before anyone else ever spoke it. Respect is not something that starts outside of you. It is born when your heart aligns with the God who never abandons, never slumbers, never grows weary. You see, the true measure of a person is not in what they say when they are watched, but what they live when the world is silent. That's when God begins His work in the quiet spaces, in the hidden hours. Respect flows not from what you can show, but from what you have survived with God. The scars you carry, yes, those deep wounds from betrayal, abandonment, humiliation, they were never meant to break you. They were allowed to shape you. But only if you bring them to God, not to people, not to the noise, not to the crowd. Because when you bring your brokenness to others, they often use it against you. But when you bring it to God, He turns it into wisdom. He turns it into power. And when the soul is healed, when the heart is realigned, when the ego is stripped away, that's when true respect begins to rise, not just in the eyes of men, but in the realm of heaven. Some of you have been chasing validation your whole life. You've been twisting yourself to earn love, trading your dignity for moments of approval. But you were never meant to shrink to be seen. You were meant to stand in divine authority, covered not by the approval of people, but by the shelter of God's mercy. God doesn't want a version of you that fits the culture. He wants the version of you that fears nothing but losing Him. And when you live from that place, when you wake up with conviction, not convenience, suddenly people take notice. They may not understand you, they may not always like you, but they will respect the strength that cannot be bought and the truth that cannot be shaken. Let me speak to your habits again, because habits shape your destiny more than your dreams ever will. It's easy to dream of being respected. It's easy to talk about it. But respect is earned in the mundane, in the discipline, in how you treat the quiet moments. Are you faithful with time? Are you faithful with your word? Do you speak the truth even when it costs you comfort? Do you stand still when the pressure to conform rises? This is where the foundation is laid. God does not bless who you pretend to be. He blesses who you are when no one is watching. And what about the habit of compromise? The slow decay of your values for temporary comfort. Every time you know what is right, but choose what is easy, a part of your soul grows dim. Every time you silence your conscience to fit in, you are stepping further from the path that leads to real power. Let me tell you this with love and fire. No one who constantly bends to the world can ever walk tall in the kingdom of truth. God respects courage. God honors the one who stands alone in righteousness over the one who stands with the crowd in confusion. And the moment you choose to live from a place of unshakable conviction, not rudeness, not arrogance, but rooted truth, that's when the atmosphere around you begins to shift. That's when doors open. That's when people may not even understand you, but they can't ignore the weight you carry. Because that weight comes from God, not from applause. Do not forget that respect is born when the soul is aligned with order. God's order. You must look within and ask, is my life in order, or have I allowed chaos to become my normal? Are my thoughts disciplined, or do I allow every emotion to control my response? Do I master my moods, or do my moods master me? Order, my friend, is the reflection of respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the time you've been given, respect for the mission you've been assigned by the one who created you. There is no honor without order. God will not anoint what you refuse to organize. Start with your thoughts. Begin with your decisions. Take authority over what enters your mind. Because the battlefield is not out there, it's inside you. And when you bring divine order into your habits, your words, your priorities, respect will follow like a shadow that never leaves. And I must say this because the habit of blaming others is destroying the strength of many. How long will you hold others responsible for your lack of peace? How long will you say, if they didn't leave me, if they had supported me, if they hadn't betrayed me? Yes, people have failed you, but that is not your identity. That is your lesson. And God does not call the victim to rise. He calls the warrior within the victim to awaken. You cannot carry both resentment and respect. You cannot live in the past and walk into the future. And you cannot worship your pain and still claim to serve the God who heals. Make peace with what you cannot change. Lay it before God. Mourn if you must, but then rise, clean your face, and walk forward with dignity. The world doesn't need another echo of sorrow. It needs the sound of one soul who dares to rise above it. Let me tell you something deeper. God respects those who respect His presence. You cannot live disconnected from the voice of God and still expect the fruits of divine favor. Do you give God your first moments of the day? Or do you scroll through distractions before you even open your heart to Him? Do you consult God before decisions? Or do you run to Him only after you've fallen? If you want heaven to respect your presence, you must learn to revere the presence of God, not out of fear, but out of awe. Reverence is not ritual. It is the deep recognition that without God, nothing you build will last. Without God, your strength is limited. Without God, your name is paper in the wind. But with God, oh, with God, even your silence carries weight. Even your stillness radiates power. Even your scars become sermons. Let your respect for God lead every other area of your life. And then when the storms come, and they will, you will stand firm. Because those who trust in the Creator do not sway with the seasons. They do not collapse under pressure. They are rooted in something deeper than circumstance. Some of you have lost respect because you've allowed your trials to define you instead of refine you. But you must understand adversity is the training ground of dignity. Do not curse the storm. Thank God for the strength it's building in you. Do not ask why the pain came. Ask what it's making possible. Every challenge is an invitation to become who you were created to be. And when you suffer well, not in silence, but in trust, you rise above what others use to destroy themselves. And finally, hear this truth and write it on the walls of your heart. The respect you long for is not simply to be seen, it is to be known. Known as consistent, known as honest, known as someone who fears nothing except being outside of God's will, known as someone who speaks life, who walks in wisdom, who doesn't gossip, doesn't fake, doesn't bend for every breeze that blows. And when people begin to know you like that, respect isn't just given, it is cemented. It becomes part of your legacy. And even when your voice is silent, your life will keep speaking. This is the power of a life aligned with God. This is what it means to walk in reverence and integrity. So I ask you, will you keep clinging to the habits that destroy your dignity? Or will you let God purify you until the oil of respect flows naturally from the wellspring of your character? Will you keep hiding behind performance? Or will you step into purpose refined and radiant, not because the world finally saw your worth, but because God restored it? If your soul still breathes, then it is not too late. Let God remove what blocks His glory. Let Him teach you how to walk again. This time with authority, this time with clarity, this time with peace. And when He does, you won't have to demand respect. It will follow you like a quiet shadow, honoring the one who shaped you in the secret place and who now leads you into the open, strong and unshaken. But listen closely now, for what I'm about to say may stir something deep inside of you. The part that knows you were born for more than just survival, more than just being liked, more than living a life chained by the opinions of others. There is a lion sleeping in your spirit, a boldness planted there by the Creator Himself. But the reason that lion lies dormant is because you fed your fear more than your faith. You've nurtured comfort more than courage. And let me speak this truth into your heart. As long as you allow fear to lead, respect will never follow. Because people do not respect timidity in purpose. They respect clarity. They respect presence. They respect the one who stands tall in the storm. Eyes lifted to heaven, saying, I may not know the path, but I know the one who walks with me. Some of you have been waiting for permission to be who God already called you to be. You're sitting in the shadows of your own life, watching others shine, not realizing that your hesitation is not humility, it's disobedience. You were not created to shrink back in the face of difficulty. You were created to reflect the power and presence of the one who spoke light into darkness. And the moment you stop bowing to the fear of judgment, the moment you stop diluting your truth to make others comfortable, the moment you begin to walk as if every step is sacred because God walks with you, that's when the shift happens. That's when doors open, not because you force them, but because your spirit finally aligned with the assignment. Let's speak now to the habit of pretending. Yes, the mask you wear so others will accept you. But can I tell you something bold? The more you pretend, the more you lose. You may gain followers, attention, even temporary affection, but you lose yourself. You silence the voice of your own soul. You lose that steady, unshakable confidence that only comes from walking in truth. Pretending is heavy. It wears you down and strips away dignity. But authenticity, that is powerful. That is sacred. Because being authentic means your identity flows from God, not from human approval. It means your words carry weight, not because they were polished, but because they were birthed in truth. They are not rehearsed, they are revealed. And people can feel it. They may not fully understand it, but it strikes deep within their spirit. What they sense is the echo of God's truth flowing through a surrendered heart. You want respect? Then stop polishing your image and start strengthening your integrity. Stop chasing applause and start chasing growth. Not for recognition, not for validation, but because God sees, and His approval is the only one that endures. When you live with that awareness, when every word, every choice, every action passes through the question, does this honor the one who will never abandon me? Then your life begins to shine with a steady, undeniable authority that earns respect without demanding it. Now let me speak to your time. Yes, time, the currency of destiny. So many wasted in the name of relaxation, in the pursuit of things that numb rather than nourish. But understand this, respect is given to those who respect their time. Time is not just hours on a clock. It is a sacred gift from the Eternal One, a breath of opportunity placed in your hands each morning. You cannot earn the respect of others if you cannot master your own minutes. How you use your time reveals what you truly value. And when your time is aligned with purpose, people take notice. Not because you're busy, but because you're building something eternal. Your character, your calling, your legacy. God does not bless confusion. God does not multiply distraction. But when your time is aligned with truth, miracles begin to unfold in the small and faithful steps. And hear me now, there is a strength in silence that the noisy world cannot comprehend. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need to justify your growth, your healing, your awakening. When your life is in alignment with the will of God, you won't need to shout your value. The quiet glow of obedience speaks louder than 1,000 arguments. Respect grows in the soil of stillness when you walk away from gossip, from chaos, from comparison. When you live as if your approval is already secured in the heart of the Almighty, that is when you truly become untouchable. Not because you are above others, but because your soul is rooted deeper than they can reach. Some of you are wondering why people dismiss you, ignore you, overlook you. But could it be that you've been too available to those who don't value your spirit? Could it be that in trying to keep peace with others, you've lost peace with yourself? It is time to reclaim your space. It is time to stop sitting at tables where respect is not served. And how do you do that? You begin by respecting yourself enough to walk away from anything that steals your clarity. You begin by refusing to entertain anything that pulls you out of alignment with your divine assignment. because the more you honor your own spirit, the more others will begin to honor it too. Not all at once, not without resistance, but slowly, surely, undeniably. Because when God is with you, your silence has thunder in it. Your presence carries weight. Let me tell you, beloved soul, there is a fire inside you that the world did not give and the world cannot extinguish. But that fire must be tended. It must be protected from habits that smother the flame. Habits like procrastination, self-pity, people-pleasing. Each of these is a thief. They rob your future while offering temporary comfort. But you were not created for comfort. You were created for greatness. Not the kind of greatness that boasts, but the kind that stands firm when everything else shakes. And that kind of greatness requires pruning. It requires the courage to let go of the familiar and reach for the eternal. And never forget, the soul that God respects is not the one that never falls, but the one that refuses to stay down. You may have failed. You may have betrayed your own standards. But if you are still breathing, then God is not done with you. Let today be the day you stop rehearsing your regrets and start renewing your resolve. Let today be the day you take full responsibility, not with shame, but with sacred determination. Because every fall that ends in surrender to God becomes a stepping stone toward divine strength. You rise by returning, you grow by going deeper, and you lead others by first learning to follow the quiet voice of the Creator, who speaks not to your image, but to your essence. Now I speak to those who feel invisible. Those who feel like no matter what they do, no one notices. Let me tell you this truth. The world may not applaud consistency, but heaven does. Every unseen act of integrity, every silent decision to do what's right, every private surrender to God, that is where true respect is built. Not overnight, not through loud achievements, but through the slow, holy work of faithfulness. And eventually, the light that comes from within cannot be hidden. Eventually, the honor that comes from God becomes impossible to ignore. You will walk into rooms where people don't know your story, but they will feel your spirit. They won't understand why they're drawn to you, but they will sense the weight of the presence you carry. This is not a fantasy. This is not a dream. This is what happens when a person removes the habits that kill respect and replaces them with divine discipline. When you live for an audience of one, you stop performing, you start becoming. And in becoming, you attract everything that was meant for the real you. Not the polished version, not the fearful version, but the healed, whole, and holy version of you. That version can lead. That version can lift others. That version earns respect not by force, but by faith. So lift your head, even if it's heavy with shame. Straighten your back, even if it's been bent by years of trying to fit in. You were not made to beg for worth. You were made to walk in it. And that worth comes not from the world, but from the one who shaped the stars and still took the time to shape your soul. You matter, not because people say you do, but because God never created anything unworthy of His breath. Keep walking, keep rising, keep purging every habit that dims your light, because the day you decide to fully align your heart, your time, your speech, and your actions with the will of God, that day, heaven stands still. That day, respect begins to chase you down. Not because of who you convince the world you are, but because of who you truly became when no one was looking except God. Let me speak now to the heart that feels weary from trying. You've been sowing goodness. You've been choosing the high road. You've been silent when it hurt and patient when it burned. Yet you look around and wonder, where is the reward? Where is the recognition? Why do the loud seem to rise and the faithful seem to fade? Oh, but you must understand, when you serve the one who never leaves, the reward does not always come in applause. It comes in authority. Divine authority, quiet strength, spiritual weight. God does not elevate with noise. He elevates with stillness, with process, with pruning. The most respected souls are often the ones who endured the deepest valleys and still chose to trust. Respect is not purchased with charm or performance. It is earned with perseverance. It is the fruit of restraint when others lash out, of endurance when others give up. It is choosing dignity when gossip beckons, choosing silence when provoked, choosing excellence when no one is watching. And let me tell you, God is always watching, not to punish you, but to promote you at the right time. You do not need to fight to be seen. When God chooses to lift you, no hand can hold you down. But you must stay faithful in the unseen moments, because true respect is forged in the furnace of obedience, not in the spotlight of approval. Some of you are still carrying bitterness like a badge. But hear me, presentment is a thief. It hardens the spirit and softens your witness. You cannot demand respect while poisoning your own peace. Let it go. Let it go not because they were right, but because God is. Let it go not to forget the pain, but to preserve the purity of your soul. Every second you spend clinging to offenses is a second you could be building the life God intended. Respect is attracted to peace, not passivity, but peace. That kind of peace that walks away when necessary, speaks truth without venom, and sleeps soundly, knowing God will settle every score in His time. And there's another habit that must be uprooted: the habit of small thinking. If your vision does not scare you a little, stretch you deeply, or push you closer to your knees in prayer, then it's not God-sized. People do not respect what is average. They respect what is audacious, what is brave, what breaks molds. And the truth is, you serve a Creator who never made anything common. Look at the mountains. Do they shrink? Look at the oceans. Do they whisper? No, they roar, they tower, they stretch beyond what the eye can see. And if creation reflects the Creator, then why should you settle for smallness in your spirit? Dream boldly, not for ego, but for impact. Expand your capacity to believe that with God, the impossible is merely an invitation. But understand this: vision without discipline is delusion. You must not only dream boldly, but live wisely. The path to respect is not paved with shortcuts. It is carved through sacrifice. It means getting up early when the world sleeps. It means choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. It means showing up fully even when no one claps. You see, people respect those who are consistent, not just charismatic, who are principled, not just popular, who would rather be honest and alone than deceitful and applauded. And when your choices begin to align with timeless truth instead of temporary trends, people take notice, because truth, real truth, never goes out of style. Let me tell you something you may not want to hear, but you need to stop blaming others for the respect you haven't earned. Stop pointing fingers at those who overlook you, and start asking what you've allowed that's unworthy of the divine purpose God placed inside you. You were not created to react. You were created to respond. And every time you react in anger, in insecurity, in pride, you hand over your spiritual authority to those who do not understand your value. But when you respond with poise, with purpose, with power rooted in God, you rise, not above people, but above the noise. And to those who've been told they'll never change, let me speak to your spirit now. Growth is holy. Change is not betrayal. It is the evidence of a soul in motion. The people who say you've changed are often the ones who benefited from your stagnation. But you are not here to stay the same. You are here to evolve, to transform, to shed what no longer serves your calling. And yes, that shedding may cost you relationships, routines, even your reputation. But the reward is your reflection beginning to look more and more like the one God saw when He first formed you. And that version of you, that version is respected not only by people, but by heaven itself. And now I must say this: your words matter. Life and death rest in the power of the tongue. If your mouth is careless, don't expect your presence to be honored. Speak like someone who understands the weight of every syllable. Speak life. Speak healing. Speak with clarity and courage. Do not use your voice to tear down what God is trying to build. Your words are a mirror of your soul. And when they carry wisdom, they command respect without effort. When they drip with truth and grace, they silence gossip and elevate the atmosphere. And let's not forget the weight of self-respect, because you cannot command from others what you will not cultivate in yourself. If you constantly break your own boundaries, compromise your own convictions, abandon your own values, how can you expect others to treat you differently? Respect begins with how you treat yourself when no one is watching. What you tolerate, what you entertain, what you excuse. Every act of self-respect is a message to the world. I am accountable to God, and that alone makes me worthy of honor. Some of you feel disrespected, not because others are blind, but because you've kept your soul in places that can't appreciate the light. God never called you to be a doormat for dysfunction. He called you to be a temple of dignity. And if your presence is not valued where you are, perhaps it's because your purpose is no longer planted there. Sometimes the most powerful act of faith is walking away. Not in bitterness, but in boldness. Not in pride, but in peace. Because when you leave the noise, you make space for the sacred. You give God room to open doors that your compromise kept closed. The voice of God is not in the crowd, it's in the quiet place. And in that place, He reminds you of who you are. His creation, formed with intention, infused with eternity. And when you walk with that awareness, every step becomes holy. Every choice becomes weighty. Every word becomes sacred. That kind of walk earns respect, not just from people, but from the very atmosphere around you. Because the soul, in alignment with God, radiates an authority that can't be counterfeited. Now I ask you, what are you still holding on to that is costing you respect? What habit, what mindset, what secret are you allowing to chain your spirit? The time to release it is now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Now, because God honors obedience, not delay. The very habit you're tolerating may be the very thing blocking the favor and honor you've been praying for. So let go. Let go of the sarcasm that covers pain. Let go of the envy that poisons joy. Let go of the laziness that robs destiny. Let go of the pride that resists correction. Let go of the shame that keeps you silent. Let it go and rise. For when you remove what is unworthy, God begins to pour out what is divine. Respect is not a goal. It is a byproduct. A byproduct of walking with God, of talking with purpose, of choosing the narrow road, of standing when it's easier to bow. And though the journey may be lonely, it will never be empty, because the one who never leaves is walking with you step by step, day by day, refining you not for applause, but for eternal impact. And in the silence of your surrender, in the quiet of your transformation, respect will find you not as something you chased, but as something you became.
So now, my friend, I ask you, where do you stand? Not in the eyes of men, not in the echo of applause or the whisper of critics, but in the stillness of your own soul before God. Strip away the noise, remove the mask, forget what the world has told you respect looks like. Look deeper. Respect is not in titles, it's not in wealth, it's not in how many follow you, but in who you choose to. And when you follow the one who never leaves, you begin to walk in a way that shifts atmospheres. Not because you demand honor, but because you carry it. Every habit you lay down, every thought you renew, every step you take toward the light of God's truth, these are seeds, seeds planted in the unseen, nurtured in obedience, and watered with faith. One day they bloom not only into respect from others, but into a legacy that cannot be erased. You are not made for mediocrity. You are not created to beg for what God has already empowered you to carry. You were crafted with intention by the hands of the Almighty, and the Creator of the heavens did not place you on this earth to be ruled by fear, insecurity, or the opinions of the blind. This is your moment. Not a moment of performance, but of reflection. Will you continue walking the path of comfort and complaint, or will you rise? Rise with reverence, rise with resolve, rise with the fire of God blazing in your heart and the peace of His presence anchoring your steps. The habits you remove today will shape the soul you carry into tomorrow. You cannot walk into destiny weighed down by what God has called you to release. Let today be the day you choose transformation over tradition, courage over comfort, and conviction over convenience. Search your heart, examine your intentions, cleanse the inner temple, speak to the one who knows the depths of your pain and the height of your potential. Lay it all before God, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to be molded, willing to be humbled, willing to be used. The world respects those who walk in truth, and heaven honors those who walk in obedience. And when you do both, you become a force no darkness can imitate, no enemy can silence, and no circumstance can define. Let your steps be bold, not arrogant, but assured. Assured that your Creator is with you. Assured that no valley is too deep, no failure too final, no scar too ugly for the hands of God to heal and use. Respect is born in fire, and you, my friend, were forged in it. You walked through what left others shattered. You endured the very weight that was designed to crush you. And now, the same God who held you steady in the storm is calling you to rise, not just to survive, but to shine. So, rise. Rise with integrity. Rise with humility. Rise with strength. Let your very existence become a testimony louder than words. Let it declare that honor is not demanded, it is demonstrated. It is proven in surrender, in faith, in the quiet determination to walk with God even when it costs you everything. Remember this: when you choose to walk with Him, you lose nothing that truly matters, and you gain everything worth living for. Now go. Release what has chained you. Go. Let go of what haunts you. Go. Speak with courage. Go. Live with holy fire. Go and carry yourself as one who knows exactly who walks beside them. The world is watching, but even more, heaven is watching, waiting for you to rise. There comes a season in every journey when the spirit feels exhausted, when the walls feel like they're closing in, and when hope dangles by the thinnest thread. In those dark hours,
when it seems the night refuses to end and the storm refuses to lift, the question rises, God, are you still here? But hear me, just before the breakthrough, just before heaven's floodgates pour out blessings, God releases signs. Not ordinary hints, but holy whispers that shake the core of your soul. These are not random events. They are the footprints of the divine moving across your life, preparing you for a miracle beyond your imagination. God never moves without design. He never speaks without purpose. So when your world seems to unravel, when confusion presses in, when every door slams shut before you, remember this: God is not punishing you. He is positioning you for breakthrough. Often God permits the breaking. He permits the uncomfortable, the unfamiliar, the unsettling. Why? Because He is stripping away what cannot go with you into the next season. The delay is not denial, it is divine alignment. When you are stretched, shaken, and feel like all is silent, that is often the moment God is nearest. The silence is not abandonment, it is preparation. Before God releases abundance, He often tests your faith in scarcity. He watches to see if you trust Him when you have nothing, so He can bless you with more than you imagined. Many complain when the pressure increases, but the pressure is proof that God is working beneath the surface. Just like a seed must be buried in darkness before it can break the soil and rise toward the sun, your spirit must endure pressure before it can rise into purpose. When the pressure intensifies, it's not the end, it's the beginning of something greater. God is not finished with you, He's just getting started. And one of the first signs that God is about to bring breakthrough is isolation. He separates you from certain people. He removes the distractions. He quiets the noise around you. You may feel lonely, but you're not alone. God is calling you to Himself. He is preparing you in private before revealing you in public. Some people were never meant to go with you into your destiny. So don't cry when they walk away. Don't beg them to stay. God removes who He must to protect the promise He placed within you. Let them go. God has already seen what's coming, and He knows they cannot handle what He's about to do in your life. Another sign that God is near a breakthrough is spiritual agitation. You begin to feel restless. Things that used to satisfy you no longer do. You begin to crave more meaning, more depth, more purpose. That's not anxiety, that's not dissatisfaction, that is the Spirit of God stirring your soul. You are being awakened from spiritual slumber. God is pulling you into a new season, and He is making you uncomfortable in the old one. Pay attention to the unease. That discomfort is divine. It is the signal that God is shifting the atmosphere around you, tearing down old mindsets, and building new strength within you. Sometimes before a breakthrough, all hell breaks loose in your life. The attacks increase. The stress mounts. The people you thought you could trust turn against you. It feels like the enemy is winning. But hear me, the enemy only fights what he fears. If your life is under attack, it's because your breakthrough is close. The closer you are to what God has for you, the louder the opposition becomes. Do not be afraid. Do not shrink back. Do not let fear paralyze you. God has not brought you this far to abandon you. Now stand firm. This storm is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to reveal the warrior inside of you. There is a spiritual pattern to every breakthrough. And often it comes right after a season of complete exhaustion. When you're tired, when you're worn down, when you have nothing left to give, that's when God steps in with His power. Your strength ends where His begins. Sometimes God waits for your hands to let go, so His hands can take over. You were never meant to carry the burden alone. You were never meant to fight every battle in your own might. Let God take over. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. God does His greatest work through surrendered hearts. And listen carefully. Before a major shift, God will start sending confirmations. You'll hear the same message in different places. You'll get that call out of nowhere. You'll see signs, phrases, or dreams that align with your spirit. That's not imagination, that's revelation. That's how God speaks when your mind is finally quiet enough to listen. Don't dismiss those divine nudges. They are not random. They are God's way of saying, keep going. You're almost there. When God starts repeating Himself, take notice. He is about to do something sudden, something swift, and something supernatural. Another sign God is preparing you for breakthrough is delay. You prayed, you waited, you did all you could, yet nothing changed. But what feels like delay is often divine protection. If God gave you what you asked for too early, it would crush you. Sometimes God withholds what you want to preserve who you are. He matures you in the waiting. He builds your character. He stretches your patience. And when you are finally ready, He releases the blessing. And it won't be something small. It will be exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask or think. But the weight is the weight of glory settling over your life. Carry it with faith. Do not ignore the stirring in your soul when God starts exposing truth around you. People you trusted may reveal their true colors. Opportunities may collapse. What looked perfect might fall apart. But what breaks down was never built on God's foundation. When He brings the truth to light, it is because He is clearing the path for what's real, what's right, and what's rooted in His will. Let truth sting if it must, because it will set you free. Before breakthrough, God always brings exposure, not to hurt you, but to heal you, to show you what you couldn't see before. Trust Him in the revealing. And oh, how often before breakthrough, your faith will be tested, not in comfort, but in chaos. Will you still believe when nothing makes sense? Will you still praise when the pain is heavy? Will you still obey when you don't understand? That's when real faith is born, not in the light, but in the dark. That's where trust is forged, in the fire, not on the mountaintop. If you're in the fire right now, don't panic. God is with you in the flames. He will not let you be consumed. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The enemy wants you to believe that because it's hard, God is distant. But that is a lie. Hard seasons are often holy seasons. Painful moments are often prophetic. When everything seems against you, that's often when God is the closest. The fight you're facing is not a sign of His absence. It's a sign of your anointing. You are being prepared. And what you're carrying is heavy because it's holy. Do not despise the struggle. It's shaping you. It's stretching you. It's making room for the breakthrough that is coming. Sometimes the sign God is about to move is not in what changes, but in what stays the same. That quiet peace in your soul that doesn't make sense. That unshakable resolve to keep walking even when your legs tremble. that strength you find to smile through tears. That is not your strength. That is God inside you whispering, "I'm not done yet." And if God is not done, neither are you. You may be at the edge of the Red Sea with Pharaoh behind and water in front, but God is about to part the waters. He is the God of sudden miracles. He is the God of last-minute victories. He is never late. He is always right on time. Do not miss the sign of uncommon favor. When doors open that should have stayed shut, when resources show up out of nowhere, when strangers bless you and opportunities appear without your effort, that is God's fingerprint on your situation. He is making a way where there was no way. Do not doubt the favor of God just because it looks unfamiliar. The unfamiliar is often the unfamiliar hand of God leading you to places you could not reach on your own. Trust Him even when it's new. Trust Him when it's different, because where He is leading you, no man can block it. No enemy can stop it, and no weapon can prosper against it. Even your tears are a sign. Every tear you've cried, every silent scream, every prayer uttered through trembling lips, God has collected everyone. He has not ignored your cries. He has not turned away. Those tears have watered the seeds of your breakthrough. Do not think they were wasted. They were offerings. They were sacrifices of faith. And in due time you shall reap if you faint not. God is not unjust to forget your labor, your faithfulness, your long night. The reward is coming. The shift is coming. The release is near. And just when you feel weakest, just when you think you cannot endure another moment, that's when it happens, the breakthrough. The moment everything shifts. The moment the burden lifts. The moment God opens the floodgates and blessings pour that you don't have room to contain. But you had to pass through the fire. You had to walk through the storm. You had to endure the silence, because only then could you carry the weight of the glory that is about to fall on your life. And when the breakthrough comes, it will come in a way that leaves no doubt. It was God and God alone. Not luck, not coincidence, not connections, but divine intervention that overturned every obstacle, silenced every critic, and elevated you beyond what anyone thought possible. Because God does not just bless in moderation. He blesses in overflow. He does not just answer prayers, He exceeds them. He does not simply open doors, He shatters gates of bronze and breaks through bars of iron. That's the kind of God you serve. A God who waits until the odds are against you, so that when victory arrives, only He can receive the glory. But there's something deeper you must understand. Before a breakthrough, God will test your obedience. Not in grand gestures, but in the small, quiet decisions. Will you still pray when you feel unheard? Will you still give when you feel empty? Will you still be kind when others are cruel? That is the furnace where trust is refined. God watches what you do in private before He rewards you in public. He watches how you steward the little before He grants you much. And those who are faithful in little are entrusted with much. Not because they are perfect, but because they trusted Him in the shadows. And let me tell you, God often allows chaos right before clarity. Confusion might rise, plans might fall through, and the familiar might vanish. But all of it is part of divine construction. Sometimes God allows everything around you to collapse so He can rebuild your life His way, not yours. You prayed for elevation, but elevation requires excavation. He has to remove the wrong foundations, the pride, the fear, the dependence on others, so that when He builds you up, no storm can tear you down. God does not deal in temporary fixes. He is after total transformation.
Another powerful sign that a breakthrough is near is when you start losing interest in things that once entertained you. What once excited you now feels empty. What once pleased your flesh now grieves your spirit. That is not depression, that is spiritual awakening. That is God detaching you from what is beneath your calling. He is making room for what's holy. He is replacing surface-level pleasures with deep wells of purpose. He is changing your appetite because your destiny requires a stronger diet. You can't feast on the empty and expect to walk in power. So when your desires shift, don't resist it. That's God cultivating your hunger for higher things. And sometimes, right before the breakthrough, you'll face a test of your identity. The enemy will whisper lies telling you that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not chosen. But those are not your thoughts. Those are fiery arrows aimed at your destiny. When you feel like quitting the most, that's when God is closest. That's when He's testing. If you'll believe what He said over what you feel. Remember, your feelings are temporary, but God's word over your life is eternal. If He said He would deliver, He will. If He said He would provide, He will. If He said He would restore, He will. Let every man be a liar, but let God remain true. And I must warn you, before your breakthrough, your patience will be tested to its very limits. The weight will feel unbearable. You'll look around and see others receiving their blessings while you feel stuck. But listen closely. Comparison is the thief of gratitude. What God has for you cannot be rushed, and it cannot be stolen. What's coming is tailor-made for you. It's not delayed. It's in process. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. Trust God's timing. He is never early and never late. And while you wait, worship. Worship even if you don't feel like it. Because worship is warfare. Worship confuses the enemy. Worship invites the power of God to your situation. God will often send a sudden increase in resistance before your major breakthrough. Everything becomes harder. Your energy feels drained. Your dreams feel distant. The pressure feels unbearable. But pressure is a prophecy. It's the signal that you're about to birth something great. A mother experiences the most pain, not in the early stages of pregnancy, but right before the baby is born. That final push is the hardest, but it's also the most necessary. You are closer than you think. Don't give up. Push through. God is about to bring forth what you've carried in secret for so long. And hear this truth. God will never give you a blessing that you are not ready to protect. That's why the preparation season feels lonely. That's why it feels like no one understands. Because God is not only preparing the blessing for you, He is preparing you for the blessing. If He gave it to you too soon, it would slip through your fingers. But now, after all the pressing, all the pruning, all the humbling, you are ready. You've been trained in silence, forged in the fire, molded by hardship. And when the breakthrough arrives, you will not only receive it, you will know how to guard it, preserve it, and multiply it. And don't be surprised when God begins to give you dreams and visions that don't make sense to anyone else. He's giving you glimpses of where you're going, not where you are. Hold on to those dreams. Even if others laugh, even if others doubt, God didn't show it to them, He showed it to you. Your vision is not a delusion. It's a divine instruction. Speak it over your life. Declare it in prayer. Walk in it even when there's no evidence, because the evidence comes after the obedience. God does not give dreams to tease you. He gives them to prepare you. Stay faithful to what He showed you. And there's something you need to know about breakthrough.
It often begins with a breakdown.
God will allow what's false to fall apart. He will let the imitation collapse because He wants to replace it with what is authentic. Don't mourn what God removes. What you lost was never going to take you where you're going. God doesn't subtract unless He plans to multiply. And when He rebuilds, it will be better, stronger, more rooted, and more blessed. Let the breaking come. Let the shaking come. It's not the end. It's the beginning of your rise. And then there's the quiet moment, the stillness before the shift. When everything seems paused, no movement, no answer, no sign, and yet that is when God is working most intensely. Just like seeds are planted in silence and babies grow in the womb unseen, the work of God in your spirit is often hidden before it's revealed. Don't misstep quietness as abandonment. Don't mistake stillness for absence. God is doing what only He can do in the background, behind the scenes, beyond your understanding. And when it manifests, it will be sudden, it will be overwhelming, and it will be undeniably from God. So if you feel like you're hanging by a thread, hold on. If you feel forgotten, press forward. If the burden feels unbearable, cry out. But don't quit. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough. The signs are there, the stirring is there, the shift is near. And when it comes, it will make sense why it took so long, why it was so hard, and why it had to happen this way. Because God is not just giving you what you prayed for, He's giving you more than you imagined. And do not overlook this. Before the breakthrough, God will often isolate you. He will pull you away from the crowds, from distractions, from unnecessary noise. He will remove people who no longer serve your purpose, even those you thought would be with you forever. It is not punishment, it is positioning. God cannot elevate you while you're still clinging to what's beneath your calling. He will take you to the wilderness, where it's just you and Him, so your ears can finally hear His voice clearly, so your heart can finally beat in rhythm with His will. You may feel lonely, but you're never alone. God does His deepest work in solitude. And when that silence surrounds you, do not fear it. That is when you are being drawn into deeper intimacy with God. He is quieting the world so your soul can listen. He is silencing distractions so your spirit can awaken. Many people run from that silence, but those who embrace it will find hidden strength. They will find clarity the world cannot offer, peace that logic cannot explain, and direction that only comes from the Creator of all things. When God begins to steal everything around you, it's not to abandon you, it's to reveal what only stillness can reveal. Another undeniable sign that God is preparing a breakthrough is when your heart becomes restless with your current environment. You start feeling like you no longer belong in the places you once settled. You outgrow the conversations, the habits, the comforts. This restlessness is sacred. It is divine discomfort. God is stirring your spirit because He is getting ready to transition you. He is closing chapters so He can write new ones. That inner agitation is the evidence that your current space is too small for the next version of who God is calling you to be. Don't try to fit where you no longer belong. Let God uproot you and plant you in fertile soil. And yes, with every great shift, there comes opposition.
When you're on the brink of breakthrough, you will encounter increased spiritual resistance. Things will come against you with greater intensity. But do not be alarmed.
This is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of advancement. The enemy does not attack what isn't a threat. If you're under attack, it means your destiny is causing tremors in the spirit. And the same God who protected you before will defend you again. God does not call you to fight in your own strength. He clothes you in spiritual armor. He surrounds you with divine power. And He goes before you as a consuming fire. Victory is not a possibility. It is a guarantee when God is with you. And when the breakthrough is close, you will begin to see things differently. What once made you anxious no longer shakes you. What once intimidated you no longer controls you. That shift in perspective is divine. God is enlarging your vision. He's giving you eyes to see beyond your current struggle and into the realm of purpose. He's helping you understand that the trial wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to train you. And now, with new eyes, you begin to thank God for what you once cried about. You begin to praise Him for the things you didn't understand at the time, because hindsight becomes holy when viewed through faith. And sometimes right before the breakthrough, God will allow you to confront your deepest fears. He will bring you face to face with what you've been avoiding, not to shame you, but to set you free. You cannot walk into new territory while being chained by old fears. God will not allow you to take bondage into a place of blessing, so He will bring it to the surface. He will make you deal with it, because He's not just interested in changing your life. He wants to transform your heart. He wants to make you fearless, not reckless, but unshakable, grounded, rooted in the confidence that when God is for you, nothing can truly be against you. As the hour of breakthrough draws near, you will witness a divine alignment unfolding. Circumstances begin arranging themselves in ways you could never design. People arrive in your life carrying purpose. Opportunities swing wide with ease. What once felt shut off now opens before you. That is not coincidence. That is God. That is holy orchestration. It is His unseen hand weaving every thread, aligning every step, working all things together for your good. You may not have watched the process, but you will behold the result. And when it all unfolds, you will recognize it was never by your strength, never by your power, but by the Spirit and the will of God alone. And do not overlook this sign. When gratitude wells up unexplainably within you, even though nothing around you has shifted yet, that is your spirit already stepping into the blessing. Gratitude before the breakthrough is faith at its highest form. It's saying, God, I don't see it yet, but I trust you completely. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of heart attracts miracles. When you can thank God in the middle of the storm, it means you've already overcome it in the Spirit, and the physical manifestation is only a matter of time. Gratitude is the bridge between the now and the not yet. It invites the supernatural into the natural. So praise Him not because of what you have, but because of who He is. And finally, when your breakthrough arrives, you will feel the weight lift. You will breathe again. You will smile without force. You will walk with clarity, confidence, and calm. Because the same God who walked you through the fire will walk you into favor. And all those tears, they weren't wasted. All those prayers, they weren't ignored. All those nights of doubt, God heard every cry, collected every tear, strengthened every weak place. And now you will know Him not only as the one who comforts in trouble, but as the one who delivers with power. God doesn't just write stories, He writes testimonies.
And your testimony is being written through every delay, every detour, every disappointment. Do not lose heart. The signs are clear. The process is sacred, and the promise is sure. Hold on to God with all that you have. Speak His truth over your life. Walk in His promises, because what's ahead is greater than what's behind. And your breakthrough is not a maybe. It is a certainty when your trust is fully in Him. The time is near. The signs are undeniable. The breakthrough is coming. God has already prepared it, and nothing can stop it. And I say to you now, when the breakthrough comes, it will not just change your surroundings, it will transform your soul. Because what God desires most is not simply to rearrange your situation, but to awaken your spirit. The breakthrough is not about the material, it is about the eternal. God is preparing something far deeper than relief. He is preparing revelation. He is opening your eyes to see what you were blind to before, clearing the fog of confusion with the light of divine understanding. And once you see with the eyes of the Spirit, you will never see the world the same way again. God will also show you that the pain had purpose. Every delay was divine. Every no was protection. Every closed door was His mercy in disguise. You see, we often cry over doors that God slammed shut because we did not yet see the destruction behind them. But God, in His perfect wisdom, saw the traps we could not, saw the betrayals we were blind to, and He shielded us. Yes, even through heartbreak, even through unanswered prayers, because He is not only the giver of good things, He is the preserver of your destiny. And when your spirit begins to mature, you'll realize that the breakthrough isn't always loud. It isn't always grand. Sometimes it comes quietly, like the breaking of dawn, subtle but powerful. Sometimes it's not the storm that moves, but your ability to stand in it. Sometimes the chains don't fall off instantly, but your mind is freed first. That is still breakthrough. God doesn't always change the environment. Sometimes He changes you. And because you are different, everything around you must respond. And when your heart becomes fully aligned with the will of God, you'll understand that breakthrough is not something you chase. It's something you attract through obedience and unwavering trust. You may even begin to notice that people who once fit into your life begin to drift away. That's not always betrayal. It is refinement. God will strip away the voices that were blocking His voice. He will remove those who were sent to distract, to delay, to divide. And though it may hurt at first, you'll thank God later. Because not everyone can walk with you into the new season. Some people were only assigned to the former chapter. Let them go. Let the pruning come. Because when God prunes, it's only to make you bear more fruit. Another sign that a breakthrough is at hand is when God begins to stir an unexplainable boldness within you. Suddenly, what used to intimidate you no longer holds power. You begin to speak with authority, pray with fire, move with confidence, not because you are strong, but because you know who stands with you. That inner fire, that inner surge of strength is not from the world. It is from God. It is the evidence that He is empowering you to claim what is already yours. He is reminding you that you are not a victim. You are victorious through Him who created all things and holds all power. And in those moments of boldness, do not shrink back. Do not doubt yourself. For if God has stirred your heart to move, He will clear the path ahead. Even if the way is not visible now, He will light it step by step.
God does not show the entire map. He gives you a lamp for your feet. Because if you had the whole picture, you might try to walk it in your own strength. But when He gives you one piece at a time, it keeps you leaning on Him, depending on Him, walking by faith, not by what you see. And that is the safest place you can ever be, hand in hand with God, even if the road is unknown. And do not despise the moments when you are misunderstood, when your motives are questioned, when your name is gossiped about. For those moments often come right before divine elevation. God will test how you respond to rejection. Will you curse the ones who slander you, or will you bless them in secret? Will you fight back with your own strength, or will you let God vindicate you? Because before He blesses you publicly, He will watch how you carry yourself privately. And when you pass the test, when you keep your heart clean and your eyes fixed on Him, He will raise you up in a way that even your enemies will witness and be silenced. And sometimes before the breakthrough, there will be a final moment of pressing, a moment where you feel completely emptied, poured out, nothing left to give. That moment is sacred because it is there in that last stretch that God fills you with what is eternal. The old is drained to make room for the new. And the ones who endure that moment, the ones who press on, even when there is no strength left in their own flesh, will be filled with a power not of this world. It is in the crushing of the olive that oil flows. It is in the breaking of the vessel that the glory is revealed. Do not resist it, embrace it, because when God presses, it is to produce. The path to breakthrough is never a straight road. It curves through valleys, climbs over mountains, winds through darkness, and sometimes crawls through silence. But every step is guided. Every detour is designed. God wastes nothing. He is the master weaver, threading every pain, every delay, every disappointment into a tapestry that will one day make sense. And when you stand on the other side of it all, you will look back not with regret, but with reverence. You will say, had it not been for the pain, I would not have seen His power. Had it not been for the waiting, I would not have known His voice. So if you are in the season of pressing, if you are surrounded by signs that seem confusing, chaotic, or contrary, lift your head, because God is not the author of confusion. He is the author of transformation. The confusion is not a sign that He has abandoned you. It is a sign that He is shifting you, moving things, breaking things, healing things. And when the dust settles, you will stand in a new place, a higher place, a place marked not by your striving, but by His sovereign hand. Keep praying even when the words come slow. Keep believing even when the evidence looks thin. Keep praising even when the room feels empty, because it is in those moments that faith grows roots. It is in those moments that God leans in close, not to test your strength, but to pour out His own. And when that breakthrough bursts forth, it will not just change your life, it will declare to the world that God was in every detail. And let it be known, when the time appointed by God arrives, no man, no system, no force in the heavens or on earth can prevent what He has ordained. What God declares shall come to pass, and when God says, now, even the walls of impossibility tremble. Mountains that stood tall for years crumble in moments. Burdens that felt like boulders are lifted like feathers. What seemed delayed was never denied. It was being perfected. God's timing is not slow, it is sovereign. And those who wait upon Him, those who do not grow weary in the night,
will soar when the morning breaks.
Before a major breakthrough, God may bring you to a place where you must confront the truth about yourself. Not for shame, but for elevation. For God cannot fill a vessel that is already full of pride, of ego, of self-sufficiency. So He empties you, not to abandon you, but to prepare you. The hollow places in your soul are not weaknesses. They are chambers waiting for God's wisdom, His peace, His direction. He brings you to humility because it is in humility that power is born. He breaks you open so that His light may shine through the cracks. The wound becomes the window where glory is revealed. And in this divine process, you may begin to feel misunderstood, even by those closest to you. They may not see the fire God is igniting in your spirit. They may question your silence, your adjustments, your detachment. But do not lower yourself to be understood by those who were never meant to walk in your shoes. God often births greatness in hidden places, in secret, away from the noise. He cultivates purpose in the shadows, so that when He finally brings it to light, no one can claim they made it happen. Only God gets the glory. And yes, as the breakthrough approaches, something will change in the way you carry yourself. Not arrogance, but assurance. You'll walk not in fear, but in quiet confidence, because there's a knowing, a sacred certainty that no matter what is happening around you, God is orchestrating something beyond comprehension. Your steps will be ordered, your speech will be seasoned, your mind will be at peace even in chaos, because once you've trusted God through the dark, no amount of noise can shake what He's established within you. And oh, how often, before the breakthrough comes, a shaking. God will shake everything that is unstable. He will shake relationships that are not rooted in truth. He will shake foundations that were built on human plans, not to destroy you, but to fortify you. Because when He builds to last. When He blesses, it cannot be uprooted. So don't fear the shaking. It is a sign that God is removing the counterfeit to make room for the authentic. The temporary is being displaced so the eternal can take root. God is not just preparing a breakthrough for you, He is preparing you for the breakthrough. He is developing character that can carry the blessing. He is stretching your faith so it can hold the weight of what is coming. If He gave it to you too soon, it would crush you. But because He loves you, He waits until you are ready. Not just in your desire, but in your discipline. Not just in your prayer, but in your preparation. When God sees that your foundation is strong, then and only then will He release what He has stored up for you. And sometimes the breakthrough doesn't look like what you imagined. You prayed for a door to open, and God gave you the strength to build your own. You asked for escape, and God gave you endurance. You begged for peace, and He gave you power in the storm. This too is breakthrough. For God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are not limited to our understanding. If He doesn't answer how you expected, it's because He's doing better than you expect. Trust Him. Not just when the answer is yes, but even when the answer is wait. And when your eyes begin to open, you will realize how much God has been protecting you. How many times He blocked things you never knew were threats. He preserved your mind while the enemy tried to corrupt it. He shielded your path when snares were laid before you. He assigned angels where your physical strength was not enough. He spoke through whispers in your spirit, leading you away from destruction, pulling you toward purpose. And every time you obeyed, even without understanding, you aligned yourself with a higher plan. That's the beauty of God's presence. It leads,
it guards, it delivers. So if you are weary, take heart. If you are tired of waiting, take courage. God has not forgotten you. The very fact that you are still standing, still seeking, still praying is proof that God is not done. And when you least expect it, suddenly it will happen. Suddenly the door will open. Suddenly the burden will lift. Suddenly the resources will arrive. Suddenly the right voice will speak, not by your doing, but by the hand of God. And it will be undeniable. You won't need to convince anyone. The transformation will speak for itself. And let this sink deep into your soul. When God does it, it will be done so completely, so thoroughly, that you will no longer remember the struggle with sorrow, but with sacred reverence. You will say it was necessary. Every tear, every trial, every test, it was all part of God's design. And others will see you not just for who you are, but for what you endured. Your life will become a living testament that God does not forsake those who wait on Him, that He honors those who remain faithful, that He lifts up those who trust, even when they cannot trace Him. Keep watching, keep listening, keep believing, for the signs are all around you. The stretching, the silence, the sudden opposition, the separation, the restlessness. They are not signs of chaos. They are signs of construction. God is building. God is aligning. God is about to reveal what He has been working on in the secret place. And when it comes forth, it will be perfect. Not because it is without flaw, but because it is in the exact form God intended for your purpose, your calling, and your future. So now, my beloved, I leave you with this truth that burns with divine fire. If you are standing on the edge of despair, if the weight of life feels unbearable, if silence surrounds you like a storm with no end, know this: you are closer than you've ever been. Closer to the moment God reveals why it had to be this way. Closer to the unfolding of what your pain has been preparing. Closer to the divine breakthrough that will not only lift you, but awaken something eternal in you. What you're carrying is not ordinary. It is sacred. What you're fighting through is not punishment, it is preparation. What you're waiting on is not lost. It is being perfectly arranged by the one who holds time and eternity in His hands. Now is the moment to stand firm in your faith. Now is the hour to stop doubting, to stop shrinking, to stop rehearsing the past. Let go of the fear that has changed your decisions. Let go of the guilt that has silenced your prayers. Let go of the people who cannot go with you where God is leading. God has brought you too far for you to live in the shadows of your former self. You are not here to survive. You are here to fulfill a purpose written by the hand of God before you ever took your first breath. And that purpose is greater than your past, stronger than your pain, and more beautiful than anything you've imagined. Search your heart. Cleanse it of anything that dims your connection to God. Make space for Him, not just in your schedule, but in your soul. Let your thoughts be guarded by His wisdom. Let your steps be directed by His signs. Let your words carry the weight of truth, for in every moment of your day, God is speaking. In every challenge, He is shaping. In every delay, He is working. And if you dare to live fully surrendered, fully trusting, fully grounded in God's plan, you will walk not just in breakthrough, but in divine power. And I say to you with all the urgency of a soul that has tasted the goodness of God, wake up, rise up, shake the dust off your spirit. The time of hiding is over. The time of shrinking is done. You were not created to live in fear. You were not formed by the hands of the eternal just to blend in, give up, or fade away. You were called to walk in power, in clarity, in holy purpose. You are called to become a vessel of light in a world drowning in shadow. And that light is not from you. It is from God burning through you like a fire that cannot be quenched. Lift your head, square your shoulders, Speak the truth, even if your voice trembles. Pray like heaven is listening, because it is. Move as if God is behind you, because He is. And when the next storm rises, do not ask, why me? Ask, what is God building through this? Because if He allowed it, He intends to use it. If He let it touch you, He plans to bless you through it. There is no battle wasted. There is no tear unseen. There is no waiting unnoticed. God is not silent. He is strategic. And when it all aligns, the very pain that tried to destroy you will bow before the purpose that now defines you. Go forward with boldness, not in your strength, but in God's. Speak with authority, not from ego, but from divine conviction. Love deeper, forgive quicker, walk humbly. Keep your eyes on God. Let Him be your guide, your fortress, your everything. Do not look to man for validation. Do not seek applause from those who cannot see the vision. All that you are, all that you will become, rests in God's hand. And He never fails. He never falters. He never lies. He is not moved by circumstances. He moves circumstances, and He is about to do a new thing in your life. Live prepared, live pure, live yielded. Let every moment of your life proclaim that when you place your trust fully in God, you will never be left in lack. As you wait for your miracle, praise Him as if it has already come, because in heaven's reality it is already finished. The gates are swinging wide, the chains are snapping loose, the path is already unfolding before you. Step into that truth. Endure within that fire. And never forget, when God is the one who raises you up, no hand on earth can bring you down. Let your very existence shout aloud that no matter the storm, you will stay steadfast. That no matter what trembles, your confidence in God will not falter. And that with each breath you draw, every step you take, every beat of your heart, you will march with courage toward His call. For where God leads, triumph follows. And wherever His presence rests, all things are possible. Beloved, listen to me now, not merely with your ears, but with the deepest part of your soul. I say this with a burning conviction and a voice that thunders. Prepare yourselves, for God's greatest opportunity is on its way. Not a year from now, not a decade away, it draws near, nearer than you imagine. This is no moment for sleep. This is not a season for doubt. Now is the time to sharpen your spirit, to set your heart in order, to purify your motives. For when God moves, He moves suddenly, and only those who are ready will recognize His cue. Many of you have prayed, wept, fasted, waited, and wondered when your breakthrough would come. You've walked through low valleys, tasted the sting of sorrow, endured the hush of silence, yet your faith still stands. I came to tell you not from my own strength, but with a conviction of truth. The silence was not denial, it was preparation. The delay was not abandonment, it was divine arrangement. What you're about to walk into will not compare to the pain you've come out of if you are ready for it. God does not send greatness into hands that are still clinging to smallness. He will not release power into vessels that are cracked with doubt. You must let go of the fear. Let go of the old identity. Let go of what they said about you. Let go of the chains you've worn like ornaments. God is not giving you crumbs. He's preparing you for a feast. But if your spirit is still chasing shadows, how will you sit at the table? There is a stirring taking place in the unseen. There is a movement in the heavenlies that eyes cannot see and ears cannot hear. It is the orchestration of your destiny. It is God aligning moments, conversations, encounters, even delays to collide at the perfect time and unleash what He has stored for you. But you must be prepared. You must live like you expected. You must walk like the opportunity is already here. Your preparation is your demonstration of faith. God is not moved by lip service. He is moved by spiritual posture. You know why many people miss what God sends? Because they're looking for it in the wrong form. They want the opportunity to come as applause, as comfort, as convenience. But sometimes God sends the greatest doors hidden behind adversity. He disguises the blessing in burden. He wraps the opportunity in discipline. And only those with eyes of faith will see beyond the disguise. You cannot wait to feel ready. You must be ready. You cannot wait until it makes sense. You must trust that God's sense is higher than your logic. You may be thinking, but I'm not qualified. Let me tell you something with boldness. God never asks for your qualifications. He only asks for your availability. He lifts the humble. He strengthens the weak. He crowns the faithful. Your background doesn't scare Him. Your age doesn't limit Him. Your scars don't disqualify you. God is not choosing the most popular. He's choosing the most prepared. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but those whose hearts are anchored, whose minds are sober, and whose spirits are awake. You don't need the world's approval when you have God's direction. You don't need man's applause when you are standing under God's assignment. But hear me well, an assignment comes with a cost. God doesn't raise up warriors in the palace. He trains them in the wilderness. He builds their character through rejection. He teaches patience through delay. He strengthens faith through battles. And when the appointed time comes, He unveils the prepared soul to a world that had counted them out. So you must ask yourself today, are you prepared for what you've been praying for? Have you been faithful with what's in your hand? Or have you buried your gifts in fear? Have you wasted time comparing, complaining, compromising? Or have you been sharpening your character, increasing your discipline, deepening your prayer? Because opportunity will always expose the prepared and the unprepared. And when God opens a door, He expects you to walk through it, not wander around it in confusion. God does not owe you another warning. He does not owe you another sign. He's already spoken. He's already stirred your heart. He's already whispered in the quiet moments of your doubt. And now the season is shifting. The wind is changing direction. Those who discern the times will rise with the current. Those who stay stuck in the past will miss the wave. God is calling you out not just to survive, but to step into the divine purpose you were born for. This opportunity is not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about comfort. It's about alignment with God's plan. It's about being the right vessel in the right moment for the right reason. Some of you are being prepared to influence nations. Others are being shaped to restore families. Some are being molded to speak truth in dark places. This is bigger than you. This is not about making a name for yourself. It's about lifting up the purpose God placed in your bones before the world knew your name. Stop waiting for everything to be perfect. Stop waiting for people to believe in you. Stop waiting for the feelings to align. Faith is not about feeling, it's about focus. And your focus must now be laser sharp. Eliminate distractions, purge the noise, walk away from what weakens your spirit. God is not going to send His greatest opportunity into a life that is cluttered with confusion and compromise. He is looking for those who are clean in conscience, steady in spirit, and fierce in faith. You are standing on the edge of something you've never seen. But if you're still chained to what you've always known, you'll sabotage the door before it opens. Your new season is calling, but can your current mindset handle it? Will your old habits destroy what God is trying to build? This is why God delays, not to punish you, but to prepare you. He is kind enough to wait until your soul is fortified, your spirit is trained, your character is anchored. You cannot beg for rain and then complain about the storm. Sometimes God answers prayers in packages that require work, patience, and endurance. And only those who have learned to trust Him in obscurity will be trusted with visibility. He will not put power in the hands of those who crave attention. He will not pour wisdom into hearts that chase validation. You must be emptied of ego, purged of pride, and filled with purpose. Some of you are surrounded by noise, by doubters, by distractions, by unnecessary drama, and God is trying to get your attention. He's stripping away what you thought you needed so you can finally see what truly matters. He's removing people, places, and patterns that keep you stuck, because what's coming is holy. What's coming is sacred, and it cannot be contaminated by what's unclean. If you want to walk into the next chapter, you must be willing to shut the door on the old one. You've been through too much to give up now. You've cried too many tears to stop now. You've survived what should have destroyed you, and you think God did all that just to leave you here. No, He preserved you for a reason. He kept your mind when it was under attack. He covered your name when they tried to destroy it. He sustained your spirit when the enemy came in like a flood. And now is the time to rise, to stand, to step forward in readiness. But readiness is not passive, it's active, it's intentional, it's disciplined. You must prepare your habits, your attitude, your circle, your vision, because God's opportunity comes like a wave, and you either ride it or you get swept under. You either move with the current or you miss your moment. This is not the hour for fear. This is the hour for boldness. This is the time for sacred courage, the kind that walks into the unknown, fully trusting that if God is behind it, no man can stop it. Your preparation proves your faith. Every quiet decision you make in secret is a seed for the harvest you will walk into. Every time you say no to temptation, every time you push through resistance, every time you keep going when nobody claps, God sees it. God honors it. And at the right time, He will reward it. You do not need to announce your preparation. Stay low, stay focused. Let the results speak. Because when God elevates, no one can question the journey. Some of you are expecting God to show up in the same way He did before, but God is not in the business of repetition. He's in the business of transformation, and He's not bringing back the old version of your blessing. He's creating a new thing. But can you perceive it? Can you stretch your faith beyond familiarity? Can you believe in the unseen enough to prepare like it's already done? There are divine connections on their way, strategic doors, powerful partnerships, ideas that will unlock legacy, but they will only align with those who are in position. God is not going to force you into your destiny. He will invite you into it. But only you can decide if you will say yes with your life, not just your lips. Dust yourself all. Wipe the tears. Silence the doubts. Gather your strength. Clear your space. Refocus your energy. Set your eyes on what's above, because something sacred is coming. Something weighty, something that will require all of you, your mind, your will, your faith, your obedience. This is not the time to get lazy. This is not the time to drift. This is the time to lock in, to wake up, to move with urgency. Because when God says it's time, no one can delay it. But you must be ready when it arrives. God doesn't need a crowd to confirm your calling. He needs your heart to be aligned. He's not measuring you by the world's standards. He's measuring your faith, your humility, your endurance. And when the opportunity comes, it will demand everything you prepared in secret. So don't despise the waiting. Don't rush the process. Stay faithful, stay focused, stay ready, because God's biggest opportunity is not just coming, it's almost here.
God is not looking for the loudest voice in the room. He is searching for the purest heart. The world celebrates noise, but God responds to truth. And if your heart is anchored in Him, if your motives are refined by obedience, if your desires are stripped of pride, then you are already being positioned for what's next. God does not operate by earthly calendars. He is not restricted by clocks or deadlines. When He speaks a thing, it must come to pass, but He will not release it until the vessel is fully surrendered. So I urge you now, search your soul. Examine every corner of your life. Where are you holding on to things God told you to release? What burdens are you still carrying that God already offered to lift? The opportunity He is preparing is not a casual blessing. It is a divine shift. It will require purity of heart and clarity of purpose. You cannot step into what's coming with yesterday's mindset. You cannot hold on to old wounds and expect new wine to flow. The space must be made clean. The heart must be made still. The will must be made firm. There is a sacred weight to what God is preparing. And only those who have allowed Him to forge their character in the fire of discipline will be able to carry it without being crushed. God is not just preparing a moment. He's preparing you to last within that moment. He doesn't want you to merely arrive at your destiny. He wants you to sustain it, to multiply it, to honor Him with it. And that kind of stewardship begins long before the door opens. You may be hidden now. You may feel forgotten. But in the stillness, God is sharpening you. He is pruning what cannot grow with you. He is removing distractions so your ears can hear Him clearly. This season is not punishment, it is divine preparation. The cocoon may seem like a prison to the caterpillar, but it is the birthing place of the wings. And some of you are in that cocoon now. The darkness is not your end, it's your womb. God is forming something within you that will soon emerge and soar if you stay in position. Don't underestimate small obedience. Don't belittle quiet preparation. God sees it. God honors it. What the world overlooks, God magnifies. What others laugh at, God breathes life into. Remember, when God decides to race someone, He does it without permission from the crowd. He doesn't check the opinions of others before exalting a soul that has humbled itself. So do not seek validation, seek purification. Do not chase popularity, chase presence. Because God's opportunity does not flow through the hands of man. It comes straight from the throne of power. If you want to walk in the greatness God has ordained, you must learn how to remain faithful in the unseen. Faithfulness is not proven on platforms. It is forged in silence. In the hours where nobody is watching. In the moments where you say no to what your flesh craves and yes to what your spirit needs. That's where preparation happens. That's where spiritual roots dig deep. And when the storm comes, and it will, you won't be shaken because you've been built on solid ground. God is not preparing you for a temporary blessing. He is building within you a foundation that can host the eternal. What is coming will not only affect your life, it will touch generations after you. The words you speak, the habits you build, the choices you make, they are forming a legacy. And when God sends this opportunity, it will not just be a reward, it will be a responsibility, a calling to rise higher,
a demand to live with intentionality and righteousness. The enemy knows what's coming. That is why the pressure has increased. That is why distractions have multiplied. That is why your mind has been under attack, your peace disturbed, your faith tested. It is not random. It is because the opportunity that God is preparing will change everything. And if the enemy can get you to quit now, to compromise now, to grow weary now, he can rob you of what was always meant to be yours. But you must not faint. You must not fold.
You must remember that God finishes what He starts. This is the moment to dig deep into discipline. Fast when no one is watching. Pray when you don't feel like it. Study wisdom like your life depends on it, because it does. Keep your eyes fixed above, not on what is trending, not on who's ahead, not on what the world says is successful. You are not being prepared for temporary recognition. You are being prepared for eternal significance. And that kind of opportunity is reserved only for those who walk in reverence.
Be aware, too, that when the opportunity comes, it may not look like what you imagine. It may come wrapped in challenge. It may demand sacrifice. But therein lies the divine test. Will you recognize God's hand when it arrives without glamour? Will you say yes when the reward isn't immediate, but the purpose is unmistakable? Those who are truly prepared are not seeking ease, they are seeking alignment. They are not chasing applause, they are chasing obedience. That is the kind of heart God can trust with something great.
God will often whisper before He thunders. He will test you in the quiet before He elevates you in the public. You must treat the hidden seasons with as much honor as the visible ones, because your conduct in the shadows determines the weight you can carry in the light. Do not despise the days of preparation. Do not wish them away. Cherish them. Steward them. Use them. Because when the hour comes, you will look back and realize that every moment in the waiting room was a lesson. Every delay was a divine setup, and every battle was a classroom for strength. I speak now to the one who feels like giving up. Don't. Not now.
You are too close. You've endured too much. You have come too far.
What God has been building is almost ready, but it needs a ready soul. And that means you must finish what you started. Don't just start praying, build a life of prayer. Don't just start seeking, make seeking God your lifestyle. Don't just expect a miracle, prepare your spirit to receive it.
Faith without preparation is fantasy.
But when faith meets preparation, destiny is born. There is a wave of divine opportunity coming to those who have remained steadfast. God is about to shift people into positions they didn't even apply for. He's about to open doors you didn't knock on. He's about to bring connections you didn't chase. Not because you earned it, but because you endured. Not because of your popularity, but because of your purity. And when it happens, you will not boast, you will bow. You will lift your hands not in pride, but in praise, because you will know it was God, only God, always God. Let your heart be found ready. Let your thoughts be anchored. Let your motives be cleansed. Let your words be seasoned. Let your hands be diligent. Let your eyes stay lifted. For what God is bringing is too great to treat casually, too holy to walk into with a half-hearted life. This is not the time for lukewarm decisions.
This is the time for fiery commitment. This is the moment to draw the line and say, no more compromise, no more delay, no more excuses. I am ready. Because when the heavens move, they do not wait. When God declares it is time, He does not consult your comfort. He invites your obedience. He calls your faith to rise. And the only ones who will step into the promise are the ones who prepared like it was already theirs. They walked like it was already done. They praised in advance. They obeyed without understanding.
And when the curtain finally rises, they won't be startled, because their spirit sensed it long before the world ever noticed. Be counted among such souls. Be counted among the prepared. Be counted among the steadfast. Be counted among those who refuse to bend to fear, to hesitation, to weariness, but remain faithful. For God's opportunity, His greatest outpouring, is nearer now than ever before. And when it arrives, only those ready will rise to embrace it. If you could glimpse what God is arranging in the unseen, you would never squander another second in fear. If your eyes could look beyond the veil that separates time from eternity, you would behold angels moving on your behalf. You would witness mountains shifting that once seemed unshakable. You would see heaven's design falling into flawless order, though once every piece appeared scattered. God is not delaying. He is preparing the platform for His revelation. And what is about to unfold will make every tear precious, every prayer holy, and every lonely night a monument of faith. But here's the truth. God doesn't prepare opportunities for those who simply desire greatness. He prepares them for those who have disciplined themselves for it. Desire alone is not preparation. Wishing is not readiness. God responds to those who labor in silence, who purify their hearts in private, who choose the narrow road when the broad path seems easier. God is not fooled by outward displays. He sees the posture of your heart, and the heart that trembles at His word, the heart that bows in quiet reverence, the heart that yields without delay, that is the heart He will lift in due time. This is the hour where intentions are being tested. Not everyone will endure the weight of what's next. Not everyone will survive the fire of refinement. But those who do, those who stand firm, those who surrender everything that's impure, those who let go of what pleases the crowd and instead seek what pleases God, they will taste a reward that no man can fabricate. God is calling a remnant, a refined people, a purified vessel. And if you are hearing this now, it is because God is summoning you to prepare for something higher than comfort, deeper than ambition, and greater than anything this world could ever offer. And what is coming will not be handed to you in a golden box. It will be disguised as hard choices. It will test your priorities. It will ask you to walk away from what is good so you can embrace what is God. Some doors must be shut before the right one opens.
Some relationships must be released before the right people enter. Some habits must die before the real fruit of purpose can live. You cannot walk into a holy season with unholy pattern. You cannot host the sacred while clinging to the superficial. God does not dwell where idols remain. This is not just about favor, it is about formation. It's about who you're becoming in the process. God is not merely blessing your hands, He's transforming your heart. Because if the heart is not right, the blessing will become a burden. If the character is not firm, the opportunity will crumble. And so in His mercy, God withholds until you are ready. Not because He's cruel, but because He's a wise Father who doesn't give a sword to a child not yet trained to wield it. To embrace the process, bless the wilderness, praise God even in your delay, because it's in that secret place of discomfort where destiny is born.
God is whispering secrets in the dark that will become songs of victory in the light. He is crafting within you a resilience that will shock even your enemies. He is setting you apart, not to isolate you, but to elevate you in the right time. You are not being forgotten. You are being formed. Every unanswered prayer, every closed door, every silent season has been a necessary piece of your preparation. Let me say this with clarity. The biggest tragedy would not be to wait and not receive. It would be to receive and not be ready.
There is no grief like wasted purpose, no sorrow like mishandled favor. That is why God is more interested in your maturity than your moment. He is more invested in your obedience than your outward image, because He knows that the opportunity He is preparing has eternal weight. It's not a passing season, it's a divine mandate. And when it comes, you must be found stable, unshakable, immovable in faith. Many cry out for the door to open. Few prepare for what's on the other side. But the one who prepares with diligence will not be caught off guard when God calls them forward. They will stand ready. They will walk in fully clothed in wisdom, wrapped in integrity, and filled with the authority of one who has walked with God in secret. Do not envy those who rise quickly, for when the winds blow, only those with roots deep in God will remain standing.
Now is the time to silence every voice that does not echo the voice of God. Turn down the noise of comparison, of distraction, of worldly ambition. Tune your ears to the sound of divine instruction. God is speaking now more clearly than ever before, not through thunder, but through stillness. Are you listening? Are you positioning your soul in such a way that God can trust you with His secrets? Because to whom much is given, much will be required. And the weight of what's coming will demand more than surface-level faith. You cannot afford to live on borrowed conviction. You cannot rely on yesterday's oil. God is calling you to draw from a fresh well to ignite a fire that cannot be quenched by external storms. Your intimacy with God must become your fortress. Your discipline must become your daily bread. Your purpose must be more than a concept. It must become your compass. Because when the opportunity arrives, you won't have time to prepare. You will only have time to respond. And how you respond will be shaped by what you've been doing now before the doors open. If you've been building in secret, you'll be ready to rise in public. If you've been fasting when others were feasting, you'll have strength when others are fainting. If you've been sowing in tears, you will reap in joy. God is faithful to honor preparation. He is just in rewarding obedience. And He is merciful in keeping us in waiting until we are fully ready. So do not despise the waiting. Do not rush what God is perfecting. Every second is sacred. Every moment is measured. God does not waste your pain. He does not ignore your hunger. He does not overlook your efforts. He is storing it all in the vault of divine timing. And when the appointed hour comes, it will come suddenly, swiftly, and without warning. The clouds will part, the path will clear, the burden will lift, and you will step into what you've long carried in prayer. This is not the time to be passive. This is the hour of pursuit. Chase after the things of God with holy fire. Burn with desire for righteousness. Cry out for wisdom like silver. Build your days around obedience. Surround yourself with those who sharpen your purpose. Speak only what lifts. Walk only where peace leads. And give yourself fully to the process God is using to prepare you. Because your next chapter is not just about you. It's about everyone attached to your obedience. The door God is preparing is not ordinary. It's not seasonal. It's supernatural.
It will redeem wasted years. It will restore what was lost. It will multiply what was once meager. But it will only remain open for those who are aligned with His will. It will not bow to pride. It will not open to disobedience, and it will not remain for those who hesitate in doubt.
You must walk through it with conviction, with boldness, and with the assurance that God has gone before you. So press in, press on, refuse to settle, refuse to compromise, refuse to give your soul to temporary pleasures when eternity is knocking at your door. Keep your hands clean, keep your spirit soft, keep your heart lifted, because when God breathes, dead things live. When God speaks, doors open. When God moves, nothing can stop it. And when that moment comes, and it will, you want to be able to say, I was ready. And if you are not ready yet, then get ready, because the greatest opportunity of your life is on the horizon. Not born from man's systems or schemes, but delivered straight from the throne of God. God does not speak in confusion. He speaks in clarity. And when He declares a thing, that word is final. No force in the heavens or on the earth can cancel what God has ordained. What He opens, no one can shut. And what He shuts, no one can force open. But His opportunities are not random. They are righteous. They're not driven by luck. They're governed by alignment. You must come into alignment with His will to walk into the fullness of what He has prepared. There can be no divided loyalty, no half-hearted devotion, no spiritual laziness in this hour.
You must decide who you are living for, who you are trusting, and who you are willing to follow when the way forward demands complete surrender. Too many want the promise, but resist the purification. They want the breakthrough, but refuse the breaking. They want the elevation, but detest the crushing. But God refines His vessels in fire. He tests the weight of your character before placing the weight of His blessing in your hands. Do not mistake delay for denial. Sometimes God is allowing pressure to reveal if your heart is truly loyal to Him or only loyal to the benefits of His presence. He tests the hidden places. He searches the motives beneath your actions. He listens not only to what you say, but to what you think. He knows the true desires you hide from the world. And it is in the exposure of those inner places where transformation must begin. God's opportunity is not just a chance to be seen or elevated. It is an invitation to steward His divine assignment. And God does not give such sacred responsibility to those who are casual with their calling. You must rise beyond mediocrity. You must train your mind to think higher, your soul to crave deeper, your spirit to reach further. Let the noise of the world fall silent in your ears. Let the applause of men become meaningless compared to the whisper of God. For when God speaks, mountains move, rivers part, and nations are shifted. And when He speaks into your life, everything changes. But you must be ready to receive that change, not just with open hands, but with a surrendered life. The greatest tragedy is not that people miss God's opportunity. The tragedy is that they were unprepared when it finally came. They were distracted by bitterness, consumed by comparison, paralyzed by fear, or intoxicated by worldly ambition. Their hands were too full of the unnecessary to hold the sacred, and so God had to pass them by, not because He loved them less, but because they were not in position. They had no oil in their lamps. Their hearts had grown dull. Their ears could no longer hear. Their spirits had fallen asleep while waiting. But you, if you are listening now, it is not too late. You can still wake up. You can still prepare.
You can still shake the dust off your faith. Stretch your hands toward heaven and say, God, make me ready. Strip away what I don't need. Remove what is in the way. Strengthen what is weak in me. Give me endurance. Give me vision. Give me the discipline to finish what I started.
That prayer, when spoken from a sincere heart, shakes the heaven. It stirs the atmosphere because God responds to hunger. He answers desperation. He draws near to the broken and builds His glory upon those who are willing to decrease so He may increase. The opportunity that is coming will not just bless you, it will require more of you. It will not just open doors, it will stretch your capacity. It will not just elevate your name, it will test your integrity.
And the question is, can you be trusted with what you've been praying for? Can you handle influence without losing humility? Can you walk in favor without forgetting the one who gave it? Can you stand in the spotlight and still seek the secret place where your soul was forged in silence? That is why God prepares you in hiding. That is why He delays the platform, so that the private man is strong enough to carry the weight of the public calling.
You don't prepare after the door opens. You prepare now. You discipline your thoughts now. You consecrate your time now. You guard your tongue now. You cleanse your motives now. Because when the opportunity comes, it will demand a version of you that can only be shaped in obedience. And obedience is not always glamorous. It is often painful. It will ask you to say no when everything in you wants to say yes. It will require separation from comfort, confrontation with truth, and commitment to walk away from what once fed your ego.
But what God is preparing will far outweigh what you're giving up now. The pain of preparation will be forgotten in the joy of fulfillment. Do not chase opportunity, chase obedience. Do not seek the next big thing, seek the next faithful step. God knows how to find you. He knows your name, your tears, your prayers, your sacrifice. He has not lost sight of your struggle. He has not ignored your midnight cries. He has counted every seed you've sown in secret, and He is faithful to reward those who do not give up when everything in them wants to quit. Your reward will not be delayed a moment longer than necessary. When the time is right, God will act, not a second too early, not a second too late, but right on time. So stand tall even if you feel broken. Walk forward even if the path seems uncertain. Lift your head even if the weight is heavy, because God is not finished with you. He's just getting started. The pressure you feel is not the end. It is the contraction before birth. Something is about to be released in your life that will shift your story forever. But it will not happen by accident.
It will happen because you stayed faithful, stayed awake, stayed obedient, even when no one saw you but God. This is your season of divine alignment. This is the time to sharpen your discernment, to protect your peace, to silence every voice that does not lead you to truth, to invest in what feeds your spirit, to remove yourself from anything that poisons your purpose. Because when God opens the door, you don't want to be dragging unnecessary baggage. You don't want to be held back by soul ties, by bitterness, by regret. You want to be light enough to run through that door. You want to be strong enough to carry what's waiting on the other side. And when it comes, don't hesitate. Don't question if you're worthy. Don't shrink back in fear. Remember the fire you've walked through. Remember the nights you stayed on your knees. Remember the tests you passed when no one was watching. God saw it all, and this moment is His response. This opportunity is heaven's answer. It's not a coincidence. It's not a lucky break. It is the manifestation of divine timing met with a ready soul.
The moment is coming when God will test the weight of your preparation. And on that day, You won't have time to rehearse faith. You'll need to walk in it. You won't have time to build discipline. You'll have to lean on it. The opportunity God is about to present will separate the spectators from the servants. It will distinguish those who are curious from those who are committed. God is not looking for crowds. He is looking for covenant. He is searching for those who didn't just talk about surrender, but lived it in the silence of obscurity. Many have been hidden in this season, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being forged. God hides what He values. Just as gold is buried deep beneath the surface and diamonds are formed in pressure, so too are the most powerful vessels of God developed in private. What looks like isolation is divine incubation. What feels like silence is sacred instruction. God is teaching you how to rely on Him when there's no applause, how to trust Him when there's no evidence, how to obey Him when there's no visible reward, because that's where the true foundation is laid. Not in the light, but in the shadows, where only God sees. This is why your private life matters more than your public image. What you do when no one is watching reveals who you really are. That is the soil where God plants His promises. That is the ground where opportunity will either bloom or die. If you've been careless with time, if you've wasted moments, if you've tolerated distractions that steal your focus from God, this is your wake-up call. God's opportunity is not delayed. It is approaching with purpose and precision. But only those who've made God their priority will be able to carry the weight of what's next. Let every compromise be confronted. Let every idol be crushed. Let every voice that pulls you away from God be silenced. This is the time for fierce alignment, for radical obedience, for complete devotion. Because the higher God takes you, the more exposed you become. And if your roots are shallow, the winds of promotion will destroy you instead of elevate you. But if your roots are deep, deep in prayer, deep in truth, deep in humility, then when the door opens, you will not just survive, you will thrive. Understand this. God is not sending you an opportunity to inflate your ego. He is entrusting you with influence to reflect His glory. He is calling you higher, not so you can sit above others, but so you can serve with greater reach and greater impact. And the higher the calling, the deeper the preparation. God will not allow you to skip steps. He will not allow shortcuts. What He's building in you is not fragile, and eternal things require eternal focus. Some of you are wondering why the breakthrough hasn't come yet. You're asking why the door remains shut. But have you examined your heart? Have you purged the pride, the bitterness, the fear, the secret habits that poison your spirit? Because God's opportunity is holy, and He will not place what is sacred into hands that are stained by disobedience. He loves you too much to give you something prematurely. He knows what you can carry. He knows when you are ready. And when you align with His timing, nothing can stop what He has ordained. So let this season be a furnace. Let it refine you. Let it humble you. Let it strip away everything that cannot go with you into the next chapter. Your comfort cannot follow you there.
Your old identity must die. Your reliance on man must crumble. Because where God is taking you, He alone must be your source, your guide, your sustainer. The path forward will not be built by popularity, nor paved by applause. It will be carved by faith, pressed by sacrifice, and sealed by obedience.
The opportunity God has planned will not look like what you expected.
It may come disguised as a challenge. It may be wrapped in responsibility. It may look like a burden before it reveals itself as a blessing. But that is how God works. He tests the heart before He reveals the purpose. He hides the treasure inside the task. He places miracles inside moments that others overlook. And only those who are spiritually awake, alert, and aligned will recognize what others will miss.
You must keep your oil full, keep your faith strong, keep your conscience clean. Do not let the world wear you down or dilute your fire. Do not allow your surroundings to dictate your spiritual temperature. The world may be cold, but you must stay burning with purpose. God did not light your soul to flicker. He lit it to blaze. You're not here to blend in. You're here to rise above, to carry the weight of His message, to manifest His wisdom in a generation that is searching for truth.
And when the moment comes, and it will come like a sudden wind, those who are ready will rise without hesitation. They will move with clarity, speak with authority, and walk with power. They will not second-guess their purpose because they've been living it all along. They've been in the fields when no one was watching. They've been on their knees when no one was applauding. They've been refining their character, purging their motives, aligning their steps with the divine rhythm of God's timing. That's who God will use.
Not the voice that shouts the loudest, not the one with the greatest skill, not the crowd's favorite, but the one who is ready, the one who has been broken, the one who has surrendered. The person who cried in the night, yet kept putting one foot in front of the other. The person who gave up comfort for what endures. The one who chose belief over doubt, discipline over ease, integrity over approval. God sees you, and your season is closer than you expect.
So rise, even if you feel unprepared. Stand, even if your knees are shaky. Obey, even when every step isn't clear. For when God declares the moment, nothing on earth can halt what He begins. If you have been faithful in quiet, you will flourish in public. This is not the closing chapter of your life. It is the opening of something holy, something beyond natural explanation, something that will reverberate into eternity. God's greatest invitation is not a tale, not a daydream, not an unreachable wish. It is real, it is approaching, and it's yours when you are ready to receive it.